Hey everyone. So I've just been on a fabulous radio show, Conscious Chats on Atlas Radio with Corin, and just felt like this was a really good time to commit to vlogging and start vlogging, keeping it up, getting going again. So we just discussed a really interesting topic at the end about shadow self, and it really made me realise that I've recently been doing actually a lot of reading around this and listening to podcasts and work around this topic. And I just wanted to share because I know that some of the things that I've listened to have been really useful to me, and the practices that I've been doing, and I've noticed a bit of a shift in myself. So it might be something that helps someone else. But one of the things that really interested me, has been really useful, has been looking for that emotion in my body. So say you're in a conflict situation with someone and that normally goes badly or kind of gets exaggerated or turns into something that it shouldn't. It was so the practice is about noticing the feeling as it comes up. So if that conflict is just around something little that's in your everyday life, or whatever it is, something big, it could be anything, looking for that emotion in your body when that conflict first arises, or that situation arises, you usually realise where it feels where you can feel it in your body. And I started doing this, and the more I've done it, the more it now becomes natural for me to do that. So as soon as anything comes up, I read something that upsets me, or I'm in a situation that makes me feel uncomfortable, that I would normally be angry about or upset, I try to find that moment to pause, to notice where that feels in my body, and also why do I feel like that. And I watched a Brene Brown podcast. It wasn't a podcast, it was just a compilation of things that she'd talked about, and one of them was literally about that, about making a big story around something. So somebody had tweeted something about her before her talk, and she went into a whole story about, oh my gosh, I'm not enough, and this isn't good enough, and all of that normal talk. And from it, she realised that actually this guy was actually bigging her up, and that if she'd have gone along the path where she thought she was going, where she thought it was coming from, where she was heading, and had not paused, she would have embarrassed herself or like upset him when there wasn't a need to, possibly caused more serious implications. But even on a daily basis, we do a lot of this, and I notice this, and I think it's a really good practice to get into, where you notice the stories. So say someone walks past you and gives you a funny look. We immediately go into this whole story about, was it something I said? Was it, that last time we spoke and I talked about that and I told her this? Or, was it because I parked in their spot? Or was it because this and that? Actually, just noticing those stories and not owning them, and realising that they're thoughts. They're usually thought patterns, because that's what we're used to doing from our conditioning, everything we normally do. We're in those thought patterns, so we naturally do that. But if you take the moment to notice, it can be quite difficult at first, but the more you do it, the more you then do it naturally. So the next time you'll realise that you're doing it. And then just actually looking at the facts, like what actually are the facts? What do I know right now? And what do I need to find more out about? And I know, again, Brene Brown has said a lot around this, and it's been so helpful. I listened to this, and Abraham Hicks as well, and they both kind of talk about this a little bit, well, in different ways, but about kind of feeling your emotion, choosing the good feeling. So it's not nice to feel like that. So you think someone's annoyed with you and you don't know why, or you have conflict around something that just really doesn't matter with someone, and you think, oh, they don't like me, or I'm not enough, or anything that it brings up in you, just noticing that. Well, why has that brought that up? Maybe noticing an ongoing problem or an issue or a conditioning that you have based on other things that have happened before, which now means that anytime you feel like that, it triggers it. So it's triggering a bigger response to what is actually going on. And then I think doing that thing where you ask yourself, well, what is real? What are the actual facts here? Okay, that person looked at me funny, or didn't say hello, but what are the facts? I just know that they didn't say hello, or they gave me a funny look. I don't actually know anything else. They've not told me anything else. So rather than jump to conclusion and make a story, I'm going to let that feel the emotion, and then find out more. Either just leave it and know that it will come up and you'll know if there's something wrong, or if you need to, you're asking them or you're doing something about it. And again, for anything like that, just noticing that emotion and where it is in your body can be really powerful. I notice that I get a lot of that, that like anxious or angry, or where you feel like someone's kind of treading on you, which again is ego, your ego feeling defensive. I feel it in my stomach, and it's not a nice feeling. But rather than push that away, feel it and think, oh no, I don't like that, just owning it, let it happen, let that emotion come through you. Because the problem is with the energy that's created, if we trap it and we don't want to feel it, we just end up pushing it down. And where is it going to go? It's not going to be released. So that just stays there then. And it means the next time you feel like that, it drags that all up, and then it's worse. And each time, and we're just, a lot of the time, just accustomed to feeling like this way, and having those feelings there. And then that leads us to act, because we feel that feeling and we don't actually notice it. We just act. So we might say something or say, oh, well, you're just being angry with me. Or we'll create a whole story and feel bad about ourselves, think we're not enough, add it to the pile of reasons why we're not enough or no one likes us. And actually you find out that none of those people have actually got an issue with you, or none of those things actually happened, or, just it's completely different to what you've made up in your head. Or that you just, the more you feel the feeling, that you can release that feeling and start to realise that it's not real. So I hope this helps. It's been really helpful to me doing this, practicing it for a while, and I've really noticed a shift, because now I notice that feeling. And a lot of the time I used to tell myself I shouldn't feel like that, but I do feel like that. So, and in noticing it, I now actually feel it less. So it's kind of one of those positive feedback things where actually by noticing it, it's not exacerbating it. I'm just noticing it and letting it be, not giving power to it, not pushing it down, not pushing it away, not letting it be there as a shadow and like haunting me, just feeling it and then doing something about it or letting it go. So anyway, I hope this helps, and I hope you're all having a lovely Sunday. Thanks for listening.